A coworker would kick my lunch seat across the room every day at lunch, and I got him back. For lunch, a group of my coworkers, our foreman, and myself would sit and eat lunch in the foreman's little hut every day. My seat was an empty-lidded 5-gallon bucket, and every day as I was getting ready to sit, one coworker would kick it across the room before I had a chance to sit down. Everyone found it hilarious. It was funny the first couple times, but it got old. So one day, I thought it would be hilarious to cut the bottom of the bucket off and then fill it with nuts and bolts and put the lid back on. That day at lunch, we go and he tries to kick the bucket. Of course, it goes nowhere, and he angrily picks it up and tosses the bucket across the room. And of course, as he picks the bucket up, all the nuts and bolts go spilling out of the bottom. It was hilarious, and everyone in the hut was laughing. I had brought in a camping chair, pulled it out, and sat down and said, "Damn, man, looks like you have a mess. Clean up." Karen complains to HR about my body. I want to reverse her complaint. Everyone hates her. Disclaimer, this was about 7 years ago, so the conversations are summarized and not 100% word for word. I used to work in a call center where everyone had little cubicles. You could chat with people on either side or behind you if things got slow, but anyone on the other side of the divider was sort of hard to see or chat with. Only important because Karen was in this hard-to-see location from me. I have issues with overheating medical stuff. I like to sit right under the AC vent. Nobody fought me for this, because it was a little too cold for most people. Well, being a woman, this meant that sometimes I had some nipple pokey issues on some days. It's perfectly natural, and to most people, not noticeable because it was under my shirt plus bra. Karen notices this and makes a report to HR. HR woman and my direct supervisor parade me through the cubicles and into their office to question me about my nipples. Now, I could have thrown a fit about this to begin with, since we didn't actually have a dress code and it's none of their damn business. They asked me to prove I was wearing a bra, so I showed them the straps. They told me good enough, basically, and to go back to my desk. I refused to go back. I said I needed to place a complaint about someone. They asked me who I was reporting. I said, I don't know, but you do. I want to report whoever it was that's been staring at my breasts all day. Now that I know someone is staring, I feel like this is a hostile work environment. They acted like I was joking at first, until I said, if you don't have a talk with them, I will go over your heads and report you for forcing me to reveal my bra to you. I got escorted back to my desk, and Karen was sitting there looking smug, until they escorted her to the HR office instead. I don't know what happened to her in the office, and I didn't care. They did their part by having their talk with her. All I really wanted was to know who did it. Since it was a very slow day, all my coworkers started asking me what that was all about. Office gossip, you know. I told everyone exactly what had happened, and added that Karen must be fascinated with my breasts since she noticed. Everyone else confirmed they didn't even notice. When she came back from HR, every person in the room knew what she had done and was glaring at her. Snitches didn't get stitches and didn't get fired either, but they got treated like the Karen they were. Nobody would talk to her. People would be chatting, see her come try to join the conversation, and go silent and turn away from her. Some people did loud whispers and made comments like, "SHHH, don't say anything, she will report you." She quit about 2 weeks later. Edit. Wow, this is the most notifications I have ever logged into. Thank you for awards and replies. Don't want to use headphones on the bus because you have kids? I'll sing a children's song. This was a few years ago on a 13-hour Greyhound trip when I was in the middle of a mental breakdown. These people were listening to music loudly, and if that wasn't bad enough, it was just awful. It was the kind of rap where the only words you can understand are B******ch and N***********R, and they were said frequently. It was driving me nuts, so I tried politely asking them to use headphones. They refused because they had kids based on the claim the kids needed entertained. So I told them to give the kids headphones. This led to me getting cussed out, which led to a heated argument. Another passenger started listening to music loudly just to troll me at this point. I tried to get the bus driver to enforce the rule that says headphones are required to listen to music on the bus. He threatened to dump me on the side of the road instead. I kind of hit my limit at that point and decided to share my misery with the whole bus. I said, okay, since we're not enforcing the rules about not being noisy and using headphones, I'll just sing. Now, it should be noted that while I don't have the best voice, I am a trained vocalist from childhood. I can at least avoid sounding like a strangled cat. If I want to. I didn't want to. I launched into a very loud, hoarse, and off-key rendition of the song that never ends. It took one sing-through for the troll to put headphones in. It took a couple loops before the whole bus was screaming at the other passengers to either put in headphones or turn off their music so that I would shut up. We rode the rest of the way in blissful silence. Customer said I must not know my boss very well. I work for my dad. Pretty great story from work this morning where I got to one-up this guy. So I'll start by saying I work for my dad at his store. I work the front counter and interact with most people/customers. Also, I look a lot more like my mom. My dad runs a separate business as well, but anybody who needs to talk to him for either business can usually find him in the office here. So this guy shows up this morning looking pretty ruffled and asks if my dad was here. I replied, "You just missed him. He is out for the morning doing a couple things." He was very displeased by this information and was acting very loud/unprofessional. He started looking around the store and eventually came back to the front counter with a piece of equipment that he wanted to trade for some work that he apparently did for him before. Keep in mind, I know most of my dad's workers and have never seen this guy before. I told him that I don't do any negotiations while he's not here, and I can't just let him leave the store with something for free. I told him that normally he probably wouldn't want to take that route, but he was welcome to discuss it with him once he's back. He looked at me and replied, "You're making a big mistake here, and you must not know ______ very well, because he would do this for me and blah blah blah." I just looked at him and replied, "I actually do know him quite well, seeing as he is my father." I told him that he could either leave or wait for my dad to get back. He kind of looked up at me and was pretty speechless. I could tell he felt stupid and regretted his comment. He ended up waiting around in his truck for my dad to show up, and guess what? He wasn't gonna do a trade. It's almost like I know my boss well. Apparently the guy just worked like 2 days for him and then quit. Plus the thing he wanted was way more expensive than what he was owed. Side note, the pay wasn't made yet because we are bi-weekly. I swear some of the people around here are nuts. But a petty, "don't you know who I am?" moment made my day. My dad is kicking me out. I'm leaving a gift. His long-distance girlfriend is moving in December from overseas, and because my father is a liar, she falsely believes that my room was used by his ex and that she had since moved out. The truth is that they were sharing his bed until last week while I lived in the other room. And so, to keep up the ruse, he told me yesterday that I had 2 weeks to clear out my room, take my belongings, and leave no trace of my existence behind in the apartment. His girlfriend is apparently a clean freak, and my dad is desperate to make a good impression. Hence me getting kicked out. So right before I leave, there's going to be an accidental spill of tuna juice on the living room rug, and there will be honey and sugar in inconspicuous corners. I think the ants will love it. Hopefully the tuna juice will go bad and make the whole place slowly stink over the course of several weeks for no reason, and hopefully my dad will be embarrassed and miserable. Edit. I am a broke college student. I pay for my studies myself. My dad was a cheating deadbeat growing up. We had a deal that I could move in with him and stay until I graduate. No, I can't tell his girlfriend without putting my physical safety on the line, even secret attempts. Otherwise, I 100% would. I think what he's doing is awful. My father is purging the apartment and my room when I'm gone, so anything for her to find wouldn't work, nor would something that stinks immediately. Yes, my dad's a dick. It's a long-established fact. Edit 2. Some of you guys don't seem to remember what subreddit we're on? Yes, I'm being petty. That's sort of the point. Edit 3. Added some precisions in Edit 1. Also, thank you for the outpouring of support and ideas. You guys are diabolical and made me cackle. Makes me feel better about the shitty situation I'm in. I'll definitely try to post an update. Edit 4. I posted an update here. Thanks for the support, smiley face. Steal my Amazon package? Enjoy your complaint investigation. I work from home. Receive a notification on my phone that my Amazon package has been delivered. It's a couple $100 item, so I immediately go outside, but no package anywhere. I was outside as the delivery van was driving away, so literally no way a package thief snatched it in 20 seconds. The Amazon driver is 2 houses down. Excuse me. I received notification that my package was just delivered, but it's not there. Driver looking shocked, stammering over words. Oh, what's the address? Give him address. Yeah, I just delivered it to you. No, you didn't. I'm calling Amazon and y'all can sort this out. Start walking away. Driver calls out, oh, I found your package. But it says there's an issue and I can't deliver it. It's likely a duplicate and another driver will be by later to deliver the correct 1-inch. Then why did you mark it as delivered? Oh, because I didn't see there was an error. The other driver will be by later. No, I'm calling Amazon now. Walk away called Amazon to report the incident. They say nothing is wrong with my package and it's marked as delivered. I tell them about the interaction and they say the driver should have given me the package. Even if it's a duplicate, the driver is not supposed to withhold the package. They'll investigate and get back to me in 24 hours. 2 minutes after getting off the phone with Amazon, doorbell rings. I happen to be next to the door, so open it within 5 seconds to see the same delivery driver hauling ass down. My driver jumps in delivery van and speeds off through the neighborhood. Look down and my package is there. Call Amazon again to let them know that I just got the package and it was the same driver who hauled tail. They said they would be opening an investigation into the driver. I also told them about how fast he was driving through the neighborhood. I felt like a Karen calling to complain, but truly believe this driver was running a package stealing scam. Mark's package is delivered. Customer says they never received. Driver says, well, a package thief probably stole it before you looked for it. I published a poem about my ex in a literary magazine he'd been trying to get into for years. We were both in high school, and at the end of the relationship he told me he was just in it for the sex, that he didn't really mean any of it, and that I obviously just wanted him because I was horny. He then went and had a hot and heavy make-out session with my best friend and came back and told me I was a bad kisser compared to her. Yeah, he was a jerk. Well, flashback to a few months previous. I was angry at him because he was being really hot and cold, and so I wrote an angry poem about him. The magazine he had been trying to get into had a website and would publish poems based off of popularity on the website. He had gotten me to join a few months previous, and I only had a few poems up. I decided against posting it then because it would be too mean. Well, after he had pulled that shit, I decided I wanted a little revenge. So I posted the poem, and suddenly it was getting a lot of popularity. And I get a notification from the magazine saying they want to publish it. So what was the first thing I did? Messaged him that I got published in this magazine. He got excited for me and congratulated me until he read the poem. Several million people have read the poem in the magazine, and to this day, he still hasn't gotten published. Don't like my silly job, you don't get its silly perks. So I work in technical theater as an assistant stage manager. There are a couple of theaters in the area, but the tech community is rather small, so we all know each other. I work for a smaller theater, but I know a few people who work at the largest theater that hosts the traveling Broadway shows. These shows are really popular and hard to get tickets for if you aren't a season ticket holder, and season tickets can run about $1,000 per seat for 7 shows. Tickets are normally about $150 for an individual show, but can go up significantly if they know the show is going to be popular. The husband of one of the directors that I work with is on the board of the theater and sometimes can score good seats at a discounted rate. This season, Aladdin is coming to town, a show my future mother-in-law has been dying to see. She asked me if I could possibly get her and a friend a seat so they could go see it. I called in a favor with my director and she managed to get 2 prime seats. Since her husband is on the board, she gets a discount, so the tickets ended up only being $75 for the 2 seats. I reserved them in my name with the understanding that FML will pay for the tickets. Fast forward a couple of weeks and FML invites me and my fiancé over for dinner. Dinner goes well and I end up in a conversation with FML and FSL about housework. FSL is a teacher and she is married to an accountant, so she said that her and her husband try to split the chores 50-50ths. FML thought that was fine and asked how fiancé, and I would do it. We don't currently live together. I said probably the same, 50-50ths. FSL agreed, but FML gave me the stink eye. I asked if there was something wrong and she said, well, fiancé works full-time, and you don't, so I don't see how that's fair. I told her that I do work full-time, just not at a 9 to 5 like fiancé. FML then laughed at me and said what I did wasn't real work and that it was just a silly side gig, and that maybe if I got a real job I would know what it is like to really work. Then she changed the subject. This pissed me off because I am very proud of the work I do. It may not be a 9 to 5, but I love my job. It is my dream job and I do make enough to cover my expenses. It actually takes a certain amount of skill to properly stage manage a full-scale production. So, enter pettiness. I called up the box office for the large theater and told them to cancel the tickets. They were in my name, so they gladly canceled them. I then texted FML and told her if she thinks my job isn't real, then the side perks aren't real, so the tickets were canceled. I then shut off my phone. The next day when I turn on my phone, I see several missed calls and about a dozen texts from FML. She is fuming because her friend is coming into town specifically to see this play. I called back and told her she might still be able to get seats if she called the box office. She ended up getting seats, but they cost her $150 each, and they weren't as good. Hopefully, she's learned not to insult someone and still expect to benefit from them. Someone suggested I post this story from my wedding here, featuring my husband's ex. Important info: we decided to have a micro-wedding, with just our immediate family there, around 10 people. We got married at a venue that is known for holding very large events, but we hired a smaller room there. My husband has a child with his ex, so sees her quite often for things related to my stepkid. We were always planning on inviting her to the wedding to see their kid all dressed up and to generally keep a good co-parenting relationship. Before we had invited her, she informed DH that she'd be there and asked when and where it was. He was a little taken aback, but as we were planning on inviting her anyway, he just told her. On the day, she showed up to our morning ceremony wearing the shortest dress I've ever seen. Over stockings and suspenders, the suspenders could be seen for a good 6 inches before the bottom of the dress, skyscraper heels, nightclub makeup, and costume jewelry. My father actually pulled me aside to ask who hired a stripper. I found out afterwards from mutual friends that she had texted all of them asking when they were getting there. Because she had invited herself, we hadn't thought to let her know it was such a small ceremony. And when they let her know it was family only and the reception was completely separate, she began to panic a little. And I had the best petty revenge. I asked everyone to be extra nice to her. Every time she tried to sneak away, someone would engage her in conversation. She was extremely uncomfortable and ended up sitting down with her coat covering her. The wedding went off without a hitch. I'm not sure what she expected to happen, but it all worked out fine in the end. Spotify hacker got a surprise. I noticed my Spotify had a PS4 with a German name connected to it, which is odd because I don't have a PS4. Spotify was unable to disconnect me from it using my account, so I decided to take it into my own hands and blast Attila at full volume on their PS4 at midnight Germany time. I think they may have been in game since they let it go for a few seconds, then attempted going to the next/previous songs and pausing it a few times, to no avail. Eventually they uninstalled Spotify and I changed my password, but damn, that felt good.